Frankenstein by Mary Shelley.
Chapter 3. The Monster's Story.
Synopsis.
Victor Frankenstein's favorite two subjects are chemistry and natural philosophy. These two subjects took up all his time at university. He read constantly, attended all his lectures, and spent many days and nights in his laboratory. Victor Frankenstein was the best in his class, and his fellow classmates admired his success and enthusiasm. Victor Frankenstein was obsessed with the human body. He wanted to learn everything about it, why it moved the way it did. Victor made the most important discovery of his life. He figured out how to give lifeless matter life. Robert Walton expected Victor Frankenstein to tell him the secret, but he didn't because he thought that knowledge could be a very dangerous thing. Victor Frankenstein decided to create a human being. He decided to make the creature 8 feet tall and a very large human being. It took a long time to collect all necessary materials. Victor went to places where they kept dead people and took what he needed. Victor was filled with enthusiasm. He was ready to begin, and he was sure he was about to succeed where others failed. It was a long and difficult process. Victor worked constantly. He hardly ate or slept. He cut himself off from the world. He didn't speak to friends, and he didn't communicate with his family or Elizabeth. Alphonse Frankenstein sent Victor several letters, but Victor didn't answer because his creation was his only concern. Winter, spring, and summer passed, and Victor continued to build his being, ignoring the fact that his health has started to fail. On a cold night in November, at about 1 o'clock in the morning, Victor managed to bring his creation to life. In the weak light, Victor saw the creature opened its dull yellow eye. It breathed hard, and its whole body moved. The creature's muscles were visible beneath his thin yellow skin. His lips were thin, his eyes were watery, and his hair was black. When Victor saw the creature he spent 2 years creating, he was filled with horror and disgust. He couldn't bear to look at it. Victor rushes to the next room and tries to sleep. He wakes to discover the monster standing at the foot of his bed. He smiles at him and made some strange sounds. Victor jumped out of his bed, rushed downstairs, and spent the night hiding in the courtyard. Victor was terrified that the creature would find him. The next morning, it started to rain, and Victor decided to get as far away from his apartment as he could. He walked through the town, not really sure where he was going. He stopped outside an inn for a few minutes, and then he saw a carriage coming towards him. The carriage stopped, and Henry Clerval stepped out of it. Victor and Henry hugged each other. Seeing Henry brought back memories of Victor's father and Elizabeth. Henry told Victor that his father had finally given him permission to study at Ingolstadt. Victor asked Henry about his family and Elizabeth. Henry replied that they are well and happy. They wish that he would write to them more. Victor and Henry arrived at Victor's apartment. Victor checks to see if the monster is still in his apartment and is overjoyed to find that it isn't. He invites Henry Clerval up, but once there, Victor falls ill with a nervous fever, which lasts for months. Clerval nurses him, not revealing the illness to anyone. When Victor recovers, Clerval asks Victor to send a letter to his father and family, and gives him a letter from Elizabeth.
questions and answers.
What was Victor Frankenstein obsessed with? How?
Victor was obsessed with the human body. He wanted to learn everything about it, why it moved that way.
How could you describe the creature made by Victor Frankenstein?
His muscles were visible beneath his thin yellow skin. His lips were thin, his eyes were watery, and his hair was black.
The winter has passed and you've spent all your time at my bedside. Comment.
These words were said by Victor to Henry after he had recovered from a terrible fever and had to stay in bed for several weeks. Henry took care of him the entire time. Victor had that fever as a result of his continuous work for almost 2 years and his horror from the ugly monster he had made.
Thank you for watching.